Cool. So I'm joined today by Ernesto from Mimecast and Ross from Netskope, and want to talk all about the recently announced Mimecast and Netskope integration. Um, I think most of the people watching this video probably have a good idea of who Mimecast are and what they do, and many of you will be clients. Maybe less of you will have a better understanding of who Netskope are and what they do. So, Ross, could you introduce Netskope to us and just tell us a little bit about what Netskope is and what it does?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. So Netscope is broadly a cloud security platform. I appreciate that's a bit of a generic kind of statement. We're very much interested in helping organizations manage use of cloud within their environments. So whether that's shadow IT or whether it's the cloud applications that you've kind of approved for use in your organization, what matters to a lot of organizations is what of their data is moving out into those applications, out to the internet, being shared with others. And I guess at the heart of it, Netscope's about helping you protect that data, whether that's from loss to the outside world or the wrong people, or from destruction through some inbound threat vector. So I think Netscope could be best described as helping organizations to protect their data.
Cool. Thanks, Ross. And so I guess as Koncise, we've kind of seen that a lot of clients at the moment are talking about how do they get their security ecosystem footprint to either reduce and use fewer tools with better coverage, or how do they get their tools to talk to each other? And Ernesto, I know you have some pretty interesting views on kind of how we see attacks piecing together, and I think that will lead in quite nicely to how this integration has come about and why it should be interesting.
Yeah, so if we look at what attacks are these days, right, that we used to be able to just kind of focus on email-based attacks or web-based attacks, but that's not the way that attacks work these days. A successful breach is a combination of many types of indicators of compromise and a whole kind of chain of attacks. So the attack may have started with an email, and then the attacker got access to that desktop and used the web to exfiltrate some data or connect back to the command and control center. They found out more information about that organization, and they could craft a fake invoice and use social engineering to then be successful with that attack. So it's usually a combination of many different things. So I think for organizations, in order to tackle those kind of things, you can't just look at one solution anymore to protect against attacks. And then there's the non-cyber threats as well, data leakage through mistakes and things like that. So risk sharing, user risks or asset risk sharing is key, and then being able to take actions on those kind of things as well. So you found something in one system, how can that kind of do something in another system and take action there? Is key.
Cool. Thank you very much, Ernesto. And Ross, what are the kind of integration capabilities that Netskope and Mimecast are offering joint clients of theirs?
Yeah, and I guess Ernesto set me up perfectly there to talk about how we bring these things together. Netscope and Mimecast might seem like disparate solutions, but what we can do is share some of that threat intel that we're both gathering with each other. So part of Netscope's platform is something called the Cloud Threat Exchange, of which Mimecast are a starring member, and it means we can take indicators of compromise from them, malicious file hashes, for example, to get to the technical detail of it, pull those in from Mimecast when they discover something new that's going to be of concern to the organization, pull that into Netscope so that we can use it on the channels that we monitor, whether that's people downloading something from a website or uploading something to a cloud app, and vice versa, right? If we see something new, some new threat that we analyze in our sandbox and we decide that this is malicious, we can share that with Mimecast and they can monitor for it on those inbound emails as well. So by sharing threat, you make yourself better at the end of the day. You're covering off as many different input sources as you can with regards to threat data. So that's kind of the primary integration with Mimecast. We can also extend our data protection capabilities through an integration with Mimecast too. I said that data and protecting data was big for Netskope, and what we can do is we can actually route enterprise email out through Netscope's solution, use our data leakage prevention engines to mark sensitive emails or emails that contain sensitive information, and then have Mimecast react to those markings, those headers within the email, and take the actions they need to perhaps prevent that from leaving the organization. So a couple of integration points with Mimecast, both pretty exciting and adding a great deal of value to our mutual customers.
Yeah, and Ernesto, you mentioned something earlier about offline, about kind of SOAR and SIEM, and maybe helping kind of automate some of these kind of detection and automate some of these kind of policy processes. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for larger organizations that have the time and money to invest in, say, event management systems and orchestration systems, it's already been part of their strategy for a while to kind of automate many of these processes. So something happens, say, in Netskope, you find out that a user is more risky than another user because they've done something, trigger a policy in a firewall or in Mimecast or in another security solution to tie that down. For organizations that may not be investing in those kind of solutions and technologies, maybe because of resources, a direct integration between two solutions is key. Really brings that to the forefront for everyone, because imagine someone was behaving quite nicely on email and in their awareness training platform, and so to us that person is not risky at all, but Netskope suddenly finds out that they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and they can tell us, oh, that user is riskier. Then we can bump them up to a higher level in terms of scanning or other kind of policies that we apply to them, or maybe awareness training that they're following, just because of the direct integration without the need for an orchestration tool.
Yeah, cool. So if we were to summarize kind of quickly to wrap up, we're looking at better coverage across the multiple platforms than individual point solutions, and attacks are multifaceted these days. Very rarely do you get just an inbound email attack that doesn't involve kind of other components. Better information sharing around kind of risk, and so that you can then either manage that risk as well as looking at kind of how do you automate some of your policies to mitigate against that risk. I think that's probably everything for now, guys, but thank you very much for joining me, and thank you everyone to watching and listening, and hopefully speak to you guys again soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.